So, I'm just, I can't even, my brain can't even fucking process. Alright, so my mom ends up going and mentioning the factor that one of her friends, works for the army, ultimately mentioned that she could end up with a pension in 5 years, if she were to go ahead and take up a job with them. Funny thing is, right now, considering the whole circumstance with Israel and Gaza, as well as Russia and Ukraine, ultimately, if you were to look at history, right now, we're just the complete and total powder keg. To be honest with you, the best, Henry Kissinger being dead, probably one of the best things that could happen, you know? I mean, ultimately, you know, pretty much to be able to get any change to be able to implement any actual peace, globally, still need to make sure that, you know, Bolton and Pompeo don't get to call any more shots. That's really what that boils down to. But I had pointed out to her the factor with all with all the training and pretty much everything that ended up getting wasted as far as time, training, getting placed in jobs that ultimately, despite the job training, you know, end up putting in positions where all that job training does not matter. Literally just wasted skills. All right. She said about the dumbest fucking thing that I ever heard. She basically ended up saying, with the army wanting everybody, that they ended up letting go back, because of the blanket religious exemptions, which the funny thing is, even with getting the vaccine, you know, like, still didn't end up preventing cuts for some people, you know? Hi, some people. So, in the process of that, I end up, she ends up going ahead and saying that the only way, for to be able to go ahead and, actually be able to be of any service would be to go ahead and deploy. And that's the only thing that's going to end up happening for everybody that enlists. I'm like, are you stupid? All right. First off, some positions that ultimately, um, deployment not needed. All right. Communications experts, logistics, statisticians. All right. The engineers that end up going ahead and helping to be able to, keep all the equipment running. You see my point on that. And it just blows my mind, considering with the advancements in technology that end up coming along, because ultimately a lot of the resources that the military ends up being able to access, and a lot of, the patents to a lot of, the weaponry that ends up getting used by the military, a lot of those end up becoming military manuals that NASA ends up going ahead and also having. There's ultimately civilian training programs, non-commissioned officers. There's a lot of ways and a lot of jobs that end up getting tied directly into the military. So to say, oh, the only jobs that there are when it comes to the military, the only placement that there is you're going to end up getting, sent overseas, deployed and everything. It's like, how stupid do you have to fucking be? And literally to end up going ahead and having the attitude like, the only way your service actually fucking counts is if you go ahead and deploy. Hey, here's a thought of logic. How about the people that actually stay for National Guard and actually, stay on U.S. soil? Actually go ahead and hear a lot of the conflicts going on and, try to figure out policies that end up going and, helping to keep, retention going, that end up going ahead and, keeping all those recruitment issues from being able to go on. Yeah, those jobs count too. Here's another thought, just a foreign thought. All right. Maybe, just maybe, the people that take those jobs and stay here, Those jobs that ultimately, regardless of medical conditions, are actually able to be taken and done, so that way people aren't just thrown right out of commission, because of injuries and because of medical disqualifications. Yeah, those jobs. Yeah, those jobs get done and stay on U.S. soil, and they end up helping communication wise and advancement in technology wise to go ahead and aid and assist the people that are deployed. And those people, wait, the most foreign of thoughts. Those people might very well be the difference between the family members that end up sending their children and their family members off to war. They might make the difference on if those people make it back alive or not. Because without those technological advancements and everything, combat would still have to be direct. There would still have to be people that, having to go ahead and commit war crimes. There would still have to be people to go ahead and recognize unconstitutional orders and being able to tell the difference between them. Having to go ahead and on the practice drills, having to understand what, procedure ends up going on when you have to follow quarantine protocol, And ultimately, too, to go ahead and have the attitude of not doing anything. It's pretty funny because those of us that had to go ahead and deal with all the Trump years bullshit, do you know why it seems like, for non-commissioned officers and, military civilians, that there was not much being done? It's because ultimately, if you go ahead and take that unconstitutional order and you follow that unconstitutional order, yeah, you're on the hook for whatever the local laws are that end up getting broken from following that unconstitutional order, as well as being on the hook for those fucking war crimes. Which, yeah, that's not just accountability to the United States. That's accountability to the entire globe. That's literally an effect for the entire geopolitical structure, despite the fact that the military is supposed to be completely apolitical, despite the fact they're getting their orders directly from the commander-in-chief. So don't say that those people don't matter. Don't say their jobs don't matter. Don't say it doesn't matter having, them having to go ahead and do double shifts and ultimately only getting a 4 to 6 hour sleep, while having to be able to function, because just remember, their capability to be able to function means the life or death difference of the people who actively picked up a gun and deployed being able to make it out of the situation alive and intact. And the failures of the people that have to do the logistics and the statistics and not going ahead and trying to, keep the advancements of technology completely in check while having to recognize the regulations and the laws and, procedural, precedent. Yeah, ignoring those. Yeah, that could cause an international conflict. Just, it blows my mind, the fucking stupidity.